Neurotechnology is the next future step after the AI and the quantum. Hello everyone, welcome to Law Excellence. This is Prathyusha. In this session, we will be discussing about different aspects that are being related to the neurotechnology. Now first, let us discuss what is exactly a neurotechnology. Now with the name as it suggests, it is stating that a technology that is interacting between the brain cells or the neurons and the nerve cells that are being present with the technology. Now what we have been using in this, we are using the electrical, chemical, AI based tool to interact between the brain cells and linking it with the computer technology or the software technologies that have been there. Now when we see, now neurotechnology includes the different aspects that have been there, and the major one that is being present in the neurotechnology is the brain computer interfaces, where instead of we thinking and then giving the commands towards the computer or the electronic devices, now with the brain cells, so with the thinking capacity itself, we can operate a particular system, we can operate a particular technology. Now that is where we find the brain computer interface is being present. Second one we have is the neuro implants are been there, where we have been having the neuro implants in the brain we have been talking about. Then neuroprosthetics that are being present, deep brain stimulations are been going on, and we have EEG based devices that are being present. Now all these have been utilized in the brain computer interface that has been there. Now let us discuss little more bit an introduction and how is this brain computer interface or the neurotechnology is basically working. First, when we see, the brain cells are being monitored. Now whenever the neurons are giving a signal, now this signal is being moving towards a particular systems, the sensors that are being there, the sensors or else the EEG machines that are being implanted or externally they are being present. Now this system will be decoding the neurons sensory input that is being given. Now this signal is being calculated, then it is being decoded. Now after decoding, the AI and all will be giving a certain command towards the electronic things, or it will enhance and restores the motor and cognitive ability. So after decoding, it will again send commands which will enhance the mobility or the motor sensors are being increased in nature. Now this is a large amount of interaction has been going on between the brain and the machines that are being there. Now let us discuss about the brain computer interface. Now as we can see, the brain computer interface, the name itself is been suggesting that it's a system where we are trying to directly connect the brain or the neuron cells with an external device. Now this external device is directly linked with the body, where we have the different prosthetic arms are being present, or else it is where somewhere else the external electronic devices are being connected. Now this is where we can come up with the brain neuron cells and the neuron signals. We can try to move the cursor movement. We're trying to give a speech with the thinking. A person with the disability is being present, or we have different diseases have been there where proper movement is not being present, proper speech is not being present. Now with the signaling in the brain, the speech can be given by the computer or the different electronic devices. Then we have motor action. Now with the thinking capacity, someone is having a spinal disorder is being present. Now with this brain computer interface, now maybe that has been enhanced in the walking ability in those persons. Then we have the robotic limb and the control, where the neurons are being dead in a particular organ. Now this can be increased, the motor limb control can be increased with the brain computer interface. Now let's see what are the different types of the brain computer interface is being present. First one we have is the invasive brain computer interface. Now in this type, we will have the implantation of the devices. It might be a sensor or it might be EEG machines which will try to understand and capture the brain signals. Now this has been implanted in your brain or near to the brain cells that are being present. Now this is very high quality standards. Now as it is present very near to the signaling or the origin of the source. Now the understanding about the signal and the quality is very much high whenever it is an invasive BCI has been there. Whereas when we see, we also have a non-invasive BCI has been present where we have been using the EEG caps or the external sensors. Now outside we will find the external sensors and the EEGs is being present. Now they will capture the neuron signals. Now they will lead to the decoding and the AI algorithm will be working. But here, as it is very far from the source and we can find that disruptions might be present, a proper capturing might be missed. Now here we will find little less quality standards have been present when we see a non-invasive BCI has been there. Now let us also discuss what are the applications of the BCI. Now which sectors can we use this brain-computer interface? For example, first one, we can have the movement restoration can be done in the paralyzed patients. We can also have the speech synthesis in the ALS patients. Now, ALS is a particular neurodegenerative disease where as the age is being prolonging, as a person is being growing old, the neuron cells will get degenerated. The new neuron cells, however, will not be formed. The neuron cells that are being present, now they are getting destroyed. Now this is where we have the ALS patients are being present. Now BCI can help the ALS patients in the speech. We can also have treatment of neurological conditions. We can have a mental health monitoring can be done. Then we can use it in the VR and the AR gaming technologies. Now instead of catching a remote, instead of having a VR, now directly we can go into this gaming sector. Then we have military cognitive enhancement, brain control wheelers and the robots can be done. Now these are the different sectors where we can utilize the brain computer interface can be done. Now let's also see where the neurotechnology importance is being present or why it is very important for India to increase in the neurotechnology. Now let's see. First one, when we see, it is a high burden of neurological disorders. Now we have large number of disorders that are being increasing. Either it might be the paralysis might be present, stroke might be there, or epilepsy that is being present. Now these will lead towards the hindrance to the development of the human being. Now with this BCI, we can overcome these type of diseases. We have large population with a motor ability. Either we will have a limb is not been working, the legs are not been working. There are many different types of disabilities are being present which can be overcome with the use of the neurotechnology. Then we have large amount of aging population. Now aging population, one problem we have, the large amount of problem we have is the knee problem will be present. Now this will help in the overcoming the cognitive hindrances. Then we have opportunities to lead AI and the neurotech integration as I told. It's a next future step that is being present. Now we can enhance our role in the neurotechnology. Then strengthens digital health mission and the rehab facility infrastructures, defense applications for the cognitive enhancement, and this also supports in making in India regarding the medical devices. Now with this, let us also see what is the current applications, the current development the India is been observing. Now when we see, we have a cutting edge development has been increased. We are been increasing in the neurotechnology. For example, we have IIT Delhi which has been introduced the prosthetic arm using the BCI. We have IIT Madras which has been having the brain signal decoding has been developed. We have IISc Bangalore that has developed neural chips and the cognitive AI is being developed. Then we have MBRC is being present in Haryana where we are trying to establish and national level research is being, Neuro Research Center has been established. Not only that, we also have the DRDO is also developing the cognitive monitoring systems along with soldier assist neuro devices, growing startup ecosystems in the neural variables and the EEG devices. Now this is a large improvement that we have been facing or we are seeing in the different sectors and our technological development. Now let's see, though India is emerging in the neurotechnology, still we have large amount of gaps have been present. Now let's see what are the lagging sectors in the neurotechnology for India. First, when we see, we are having limited capabilities have been present regarding invasive brain implants have been present. Second, we have large scale of the clinical trials is been lagging in India. Third, heavy dependence on the imported neural chips and the sensors is being present. Then there is no dedicated neurotechnology regulation framework, and we have large amount of funding gaps is being present, and we also have large amount of global competitors. For example, if you see in the world, we have large amount of advancement has been observed in the neurotechnology. For example, we all already know in the United Nations we have the Neuralink, Elon Musk that's been present, where it is the first human implanted chip enabled cursor is being developed. Movement by the thought. Then we have block roach neurotechnology. Now this is largely developing the long-term implants for restoration of the mobility. And we also have China. Now China, the government itself is being state-funded neurotech for the health and defense has been started, and large amount of rapid progress has been observed. And even the European Union, we have the human brain project has been present, where we are trying to map the human network systems, where which side of the brain, where we find the cognitive ability, speech ability, thinking process is being present. Such networking mapping is also being started. Then we have Japan, large development of the neuro-robotics is being done for the elders, and there is also an integration of the AI is being done in the Japan. Now let's see, certain amount of the criticism also is being present. For example, we have a criticism of the first, we have as it is an neural link, and as we have been going for the computer chips and all, we have a definite threat of the cyber attacks. We have a fear of mind control. And there is a lag of a framework and regulation mechanism and introducing, and there is also a growing importance is being given for right to mobility and right to cognitive abilities that are being there. Now that is creating a bit of hindrance in development. Now what can be done? Now we already have the Digital Protection, Personal Protection Act is being present. Now they have to be also included, and reforms have to be taken place such that the neural technology also will be coming into this sector. Now with this, India can also emerge in the leading technological provider regarding the neurotechnologies. Now regarding this, please do comment your views. Thank you.